Hey guys, Darcy here, and today we're going to talk about how I treated my home studio. Let's get into it. Let's first talk about what is my home studio. I'm going to show you some B-roll here of my studio. You can see here that it's set up for a couple of purposes. It's set up with a couch for like home theater and comfort. It also has two desks, one for my day job, which is me being a developer, plus there's a gaming rig there, and as well as my main setup for all of the music production, mixing, engineering that I do, as well as the YouTube space with the big lights. Over a year ago, I was moving from an apartment in downtown Toronto into a house with an unfinished basement being the only place that would make sense for me to set up my space. Looking at this, is a situation in where you have pink insulation wrapped on the walls and no actual physical walls, and then unfinished joists above you. Throughout the whole basement there's a lot of open spaces, but there was this one narrow corridor that I felt would be best because I wanted to make sure that the reflections I had on the left and right would be about even in timing, and I didn't have like 120-foot space on my one side and then like 3 feet on the other side. I had something similar in a previous experience, and I had some issues because of that. With this space, being something where everything is unfinished, I obviously couldn't hang acoustic panels on the walls because there isn't any walls. So inspired by the idea of the fabric wall system, I decided to come up with like a fabric ceiling system. The core of what has happened here is that I've actually put insulation between all the joists above me and then wrapped all of that in a fabric. Each joist from where the insulation rests is about 8 inches, and each insulation bat is about 3 inches, right? That gives actually about a 5-inch air gap above it, which means that as sound travels through it, there's some space in there for it to get caught and bounce around before it comes back, which can help. And then around the walls, as you see behind me, these are just drapery from IKEA. The reason I chose that, mainly because I didn't want to look at the pink insulation. That's the #1 reason. It's just more aesthetically pleasing, and I could hang it and it'd be very easy from a construction perspective. It also does help with reflection of some higher frequencies, and because it's ruffled everywhere, that may add a little bit of diffusion, meaning that sound may not come back and bounce in the same direction that it went. It goes in towards this wall here, and then there's ruffles, so some of it might come back in a different direction. Even though that's not going to completely deaden the space, it's going to maybe make it more even. Overall, this space has worked for me very, very well. It's very balanced. My previous place in the apartment, I definitely had issues. There were frequencies that would completely drop out on one speaker compared to the other. It would literally sound like if you did a sine wave, it would pan to the left, even though there was no panning happening. So real actual problems. In here, you'll notice that when you actually walk into the space, it immediately changes right away. The sound is very different compared to the rest of the basement. Things that I've noticed, the mid-range is far clearer, the higher frequencies are far clearer, and the low frequencies are actually more flattened out, and by that I mean that they're actually not as loud as they used to be. And I realized that they were being overly pronounced in my old space, and that was affecting my decisions that I was making. At the end of the day, I'm very, very happy with this. However, one of the reasons why I decided to make this video is the fact that I'm actually going to be moving, and so I'm going to actually have to move away from this, and the next space I'm going to be in is a finished basement, and so therefore I won't actually have the same situation. I still have additional insulation from when I did the ceiling, so I'm going to make actual acoustic panels for that space. I'm going to be able to make 8 of them, so that'll be my next step, and there'll be more learning and stuff from that, so I'll figure out what video I'll do on that in the future. Otherwise, hopefully you found this helpful. Hopefully this gives you some ideas if you're in an unconventional space and trying to figure out how to make it sound better. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm not an acoustic treatment expert, just did my research, and this is what I thought would make the most sense for the lowest budget for me. For me, it was around about $400 worth of investment, far cheaper than actually paying to finish this entire space and put that together, especially since I knew that it was going to be a temporary space. Just something that, made sense with the constraints that I had. But if you found this helpful, let me know that. If you have any questions, let me know that as well. And otherwise, have yourself a good day.